I was just looking up scoring splits for Red Bulls, and they've scored their most goals in the final 15 minutes of games this year, which is coincidentally when y'all have allowed the most goals. So how do you approach this final 15 minutes if y'all have that lead and are that close to the cup?
I don't know. Every 15 minutes is important. You think about the first 15 minutes of this game, it's going to be probably pretty intense. Whatever the scoreline presents in the last 15 minutes is going to be just as wild, I'm sure. So you have to focus the entire game. It's going to be difficult from the get-go until the whistle blows, and I think everyone needs to focus on that no matter what point of the game. Any goal changes kind of the complexion of the series.
We spoke a little bit about the Red Bulls not pressing as aggressively as they have during the regular season at Mercedes-Benz. I assume that y'all assume they're going to come out guns a-blazing on Thursday.
Yep.
And I guess that it's good that you've already experienced that once this season there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've played them a bunch now, and it seems like every game has had, you know, a level of intensity that's somewhat unmatched around the league, and I think that it's just what you come to expect. Now we're doing it there in the playoffs, in the second game of a conference final. It's going to be all of those things. You know, it's going to be that intensity. It's going to be the pressure. It's going to be, you know, they're going to bring it. That's for sure.
Another talking point is the weather. Y'all have played in two of among the coldest games in MLS history. I think including the coldest game in MLS history. Your laughter makes me think this is not a talking point.
Well, the fact that we've played in two of the coldest games ever, I don't know if that really kind of, maybe it does. Maybe it has an effect. You could say, yeah, we played in those games in Minnesota, but once you step on the field, you're not going to be thinking, man, this is cold. You're going to be thinking, man, this is the conference final.
I'm going to be thinking it's cold.
Yeah, that's for certain. I think there's going to be thousands of people there that are going to be saying, man, this is cold. There's going to be 22 guys that are probably not going to be thinking that.
Curious, in year two, I mean, could you imagine being here where you are right now?
You can imagine it. Yeah, I think that was the goal. Even last year, you know, advancing through the playoffs was the goal. So, yeah, I mean, from the moment we came together as a team, I feel like I said this a lot last year. We never wanted to make an excuse for ourselves. That was kind of handed down from us by the coach, and the players took it on board. So it was definitely possible, something that we had hoped to achieve.
Given the result from this weekend, how do you not look past Thursday and kind of peek ahead, and how do you focus on it?
You don't. I think one of the beauties of this week is that it comes quicker than normal. The playoff structure has kind of a speed up, slow down, hurry up and wait kind of feel, but now we're in the hurry up part. So you have to focus on Thursday. That's it. It's everything.
You, Darwinton, Julian, Ben, Eric were really aggressive getting the second balls and winning a lot of the duels on the field the other night, and I assume nothing changes going into this one.
No, of course. I mean, the Red Bull team is so good at that. They're so good at kind of getting in your face, winning battles, winning second balls, and you have to match it. You have to go out there and know that that's what's going to come at you, and bring that level of intensity. Those guys in the midfield, it was a dogfight in the middle of the field. And I think that it often is against Red Bull. Even if you go back to the first game of the 2017 season, it was a very similar thing. It's kind of how it always goes against them. So you have to be ready for it, and I thought that the guys that you mentioned in the midfield did a great job.
Jeff, you have to mentally just say we're not up 3-0 going into this game and just act like it's a clean slate, just 0-0?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you just have to approach it as a game. One where you have to do what I just said, match the intensity. You have to play focused. You have to play concentrated. You have to do the things that you've been kind of preaching over the last several weeks of keeping your head down and getting through the 90 minutes, focusing on what the task at hand, what's ahead of you.
Just by chance you guys get down, is that a situation where some of the veterans need to just step up and say, okay, one goal, we can't get panicky or anything?
I think everyone is aware of the situation. It takes patience and concentration and that level of intensity that is required in a playoff game.
Did you get a chance to look at the TIFO before the game? Sunday?
Yeah, it's hard not to. If your eyes were open, you saw it. It was special.
I was curious. I mean, you're 370-something games in Major League Soccer. I know in the past I've asked you about TIFOs, and you haven't always paid attention to a lot of them because you're focusing on the game. But is this maybe the most memorable one?
Without question.
Okay.
Without question. I mean, I remember when we won MLS Cup with Colorado, our first game back, we played Portland at home. I think it was actually Portland's first game ever in the league. And they gave out flags, and it was on a much smaller scale. But I remember that being super cool, and this kind of was that on steroids. Yeah.
Can you top that? I mean,
If Darren finds a way to make the stadium levitate, then that'll be it.
Would you put it past him?
I don't know. Listen, the fan support, the club's desire to do things special and differently has been there from day one, and it's carried the team. And I think that the other night was kind of this symbiotic experience of everybody really just pulling in one direction, and that was important. And I think that that's something that is unique to this club in a way, and on Thursday night we're not going to have that, so we're going to have to find it within ourselves.
Did you anticipate a decent travel? I mean, obviously the fans have shown their passion for this club. Do you anticipate somewhat of a supporting group for you guys up there?
Yeah, I do, for sure.
all right, one or two more for Jeff. I'll send you.
Okay, appreciate it.
Good luck, man.